Today, we are so lucky to have Miriam McKissick as our guest. Miriam is a multifamily real estate investor and collaborator in the Tampa area. She is a fierce competitor in multiple seasons of American Ninja Warrior, loves music and plays instruments along with singing. She is a worship leader at her local church, is heavily family focused, a founding affiliate for a new startup company called Make Wellness, and is a full-time professional because she doesn't have enough on her plate and needs to add more to it. So, before we get started, I just want to say, wow, not only are you a business builder, but you are also a people builder. And I've had the opportunity to work with you and talk with you, and I just think that you are incredible and you have an incredible message and just a really beautiful and natural way of helping people. So welcome to the Counter Life podcast.
Thank you, Denise. That's so nice of you. And when Denise gives you compliments, you guys, it goes to the heart, you're so authentic and I appreciate that. Thank you. It's an honor to be on your podcast today.
Well, thank you. So we like to focus on kind of the entrepreneurial journey and what that looks like for everyone, because we know that every entrepreneur, their experience is so different.
Yes.
But what is it that inspired you to start your entrepreneurial journey, and how did you select or pick your particular niche or industry?
Okay, that's a loaded question. And I love it though, because you can ask this question of anyone and you will hear a different story.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's most powerful about it, is that you don't need to feel intimidated by someone else's story. In fact, you should take solace in that knowing everyone's is very unique to them. It's like there isn't a wrong way to do it.
Right. That's so true.
There isn't a wrong way to start. So I'm no different either. Although I will tell you a little backstory about how I even got into that mindset of wanting to maybe add entrepreneurial activities in my day-to-day. And that actually happened back in 2020. It wasn't because of COVID, believe it or not, but it was right around that March, April timeframe. And one of the pastors of the church we were attending at the time, really looked up to him. He was just on social media, sharing a book he had read on wealth building by a gentleman named Jim Baker. And he has this program called Wealth with God. And long story short, he had this phenomenal book about how, think of Dave Ramsey. You know how Dave Ramsey kind of helps get people out of debt and kind of out of bad financial situations. That's Dave Ramsey's real gift. But there's not a lot of people talking about the wealth building space, especially in the Christian circles, which I'm a part of. And it's just the wealth building part. We stop at Dave Ramsey and then we kind of we don't really know how to build from there. And Jim Baker has a real gift for that. So his book in particular taught about finances and how to build upon a foundation that you have once you are financially healthy, which is basically out of debt. How do you start building from there? And then he teaches on the 3 paths to wealth. And the 3 paths are owning your own business, paper investing, which is just the stock market, which is powerful too, and then real estate investing. And there might be more paths to wealth, but that kind of covers the big 3 categories, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people do all 3 or some elements of all 3. And at the time, I was like, owning my own business sounds really intimidating right now, especially at this time in my career. I'm in my mid-30s and I work full time. I've been working as a professional out of college since I graduated. And I was like, man, starting my own business. First of all, I'm not an ultra creative by definition. It didn't tick, right? I don't have a great idea. I wasn't really passionate about a certain thing to really start a business off of. So I kind of tabled that one. Paper investing, it's fine, but it's slow. It's time to do that. But real estate, that one resonated with me because we all have heard most of us have heard the stat that real estate makes the most millionaires by definition. The ratio, the stats out there, it's just a proven fact. In fact, the wealthy class, if you want to call it that, you better bet the vast majority of those people have real estate in their portfolios. It's just a part of everyone's who has any amount of wealth. They just have it. And so real estate, not only is it just predictable, repeatable, and it's tangible, like I can control real estate. And that's a loaded statement too, because there's all facets within real estate too. Some are more controllable than others. But my point is that one just resonated with me the most. And so I dove right in. I was like, this is the one, this is the path I'm going to study. I'm going to I'm going to listen to podcasts. I'm going to read books. I started hunting for a group to join, like for coaching, and kind of the rest is history from there. Like, you know, Denise, like once you like get a part of a community and you're kind of learning a new thing, like it just, the path unveils from there. It's like you start meeting other people, you start really honing in and refining what you want to do within your niche. And so I was no different. And I actually started in the single family space, which is just normal houses. Like, how do I turn those into rentals? That's the lowest barrier to entry, because especially if you work a normal job, you can go to the bank and they'll give you a loan. And so that's where I started. And that's where a lot of people start, because it's like the easiest. But in that group, someone recommended another book to me about multifamily, which is the apartment building space. And that's when I just decided to laser focus on that asset class in particular. And then I specifically joined a group that helped me study around multifamily. And then I've been in that ever since. But that was the start of my entrepreneurial, like the bug bit me then. And then, of course, you get involved in these amazing groups, and a lot of people have multiple things going on. Like,
yeah.
You start meeting like really like successful business owners. And so they do real estate and they own a business on the side. So I started getting really inspired by how these people live their life by design. Like, they literally built a life for themselves, and it wasn't hinging on another corporate America or some W-2 job that, like, there's a ceiling, there's a cap in earning, there's no security whatsoever, because you are at the mercy of whoever writes the paychecks or determines what the company makeup is. So that's a really long-winded way of saying how I got here.
I think that's fascinating, though. So you buy buildings or apartments, turn them into apartments. Like, what is involved in that? Because it sounds like a lot.
Yeah. So here's the thing about like multifamily asset classes. So the bigger buildings, like think of multifamily as anything past 4 units or 4 doors. So
Okay.
you've heard of a duplex, a triplex, and a quadplex. That's 2, 3, and 4 units respectively. But once you get 5 and above, you start entering into the commercial space, which is a new asset class of real estate. You need a different type of bank to buy that kind of real estate. They also, you know, you qualify for that kind of real estate totally different than you do for those smaller building types. So it's just a whole different game. And there's a lot of leverage and a lot of really cool like aspects of commercial real estate the commercial real estate space that allows you to like go bigger sooner. Now, like the caveat is, I don't want to over glorify it. I mean, everything good and worth having is hard. Like it might be simple, but it's not easy. Does that make sense?
Yes,
like,
it does.
Nothing comes easy. In fact, if you encounter hardship and you give up, then it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you failed, but it probably means you're not an entrepreneur. Like, if you can't keep getting up after failure, or you can't keep getting up after you're told no, if you can't keep getting up after you make a mistake, then, you know, like that's what an entrepreneur is. It's like, this journey looks like this. It's ups and downs, but the trajectory is always up.
Yep.
And I think that's the secret sauce. And if you can get your mindset in a place to really accept that dynamic, that's when you can really start seeing differences in your life, and tangible change in how much you earn, tangible change in how much people you impact. And it doesn't minimize anyone who doesn't want to be an entrepreneur. In fact, we need those of us who aren't entrepreneurs too. Like, the world goes around because we all play together like that. But it is a really interesting dynamic. So the larger real estate is no different. And the way multifamily works is just like a single family house. Like, you buy a beater upper or a fixer upper, and you're trying to get it all nice and pretty. You buy it for cheap, you put money into it, and you sell it for more than you bought it, right? That's kind of like the generic recipe. Well, multifamily is no different. You're just doing it with bigger buildings. You try to, those are called value add projects. We add value to a project. Except for in multifamily, the economies of scale are much larger. So sorry, my dogs.
That's okay. That's real life.
I know.
In fact, I have my dog. One of my dogs is right here, and she could sound just like that at any moment. So it's okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone.
For our listeners, we all have dogs.
Yes, we do. And I adore them. Okay. So that's what multifamily real estate is. Hopefully that made sense. It's, you typically can't take these buildings down by yourself unless you're sitting on a ton of money. So that's also why the barrier to entry financially is a little harder there, but you work with a team to get there. You kind of partner with people who maybe have money to give. Maybe you offer the project management skills. Maybe you have the sweat equity involved. Like you're the one actually helping run the project, fix things, that kind of thing. So it's all about partnership. And that's what I really loved about the space.
So do you like to mentor people who are coming into this particular area? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Something completely different.
Yeah. So I think, and that's also why I gravitated towards these other, when you were giving my little bio, like working with others, it just fulfills me so much. Like when you're in a position of being able to lift each other up and promote someone, help someone grow, help someone learn a new thing who's hungry, there's just something about that is super rewarding and fulfilling. And, if we can all make money while doing it, why not? Right? Like,
absolutely.
It's kind of like the whole, I've heard it said like this too. Wherever you add value is where you make money. Think about even in say you're employed by an employer today, like the more you add value in your position, the more you're promoted, the more you're respected, the more you're liked. And it's all an exchange of value. So this is no different. Like maybe you work as a nurse, you still are providing value and you're recognized for the value that you give or the value that you output. And so I love that about real estate. I love that about any kind of team building like business. It's all about providing value. The more you give, the more you inherently make. And it's not even about you. It's like the more you help others, what you want naturally comes without you even trying to help yourself.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, I can remember there's a big term that I don't know if they use it in corporate anymore, but it used to be, if you were the MVP, you were always the one that, people came to, and people tried to emulate you because you did get that recognition and people did see the contribution that you made. So what would you say has been some of the biggest challenges that you have faced as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah.
Or overcome it, because it could be happening now.
Yeah, no, for real. Denise, I have to say, like the first thing that's coming to my mind is literally mindset. I think that because there are not all the days are great. In fact, as an entrepreneur, you will have the highest of highs, but you will also have the lowest of lows, like to the point where you just want to throw in the towel, like you want to give up. And that's how extreme it can feel. And I think one of the keys that I've learned is like on a bad day, just make sure you do something that fills your cup. Just walk away from the business for a second and make sure you're filling up your cup with something else so that you're constantly kind of in a balancing thing. And if you have a really good, amazing day, then just chill. Like don't do extra stuff, kind of like rest, like enjoy the moment, it's don't try to like go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this weird like equilibrium thing that you play so that you can keep your emotions kind of like as much as in a healing ratio as possible. I don't know how to describe it.
That's really good advice. Really, really good advice. Because I do think that sometimes we, on the bad days, we don't want to get out of bed sometimes. But
I know.
We have to.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, on those really good days, you're like riding that high and you want to just keep going. But too, that you can't do that because you're going to crash and burn eventually.
Yeah. And And it is, there's something to be said about like taking advantage of being motivated and like when you are in a high, like to keep working. But you just got to be really careful not to cross a line. And everyone's line is going to be different, by the way. Like what for you, Denise, what maybe puts you over the edge won't be what puts me over the edge. And
Mm-hmm.
so you just have to be super intuitive and in tune with yourself. And that's what it's all about in the end. So that's like my biggest challenge is the mindset game. Like, cause I'm also juggling a lot. Like sometimes I wonder why I do, why did I choose? Why did I say yes to like 4 different major things that literally consume every minute of every day for me? But it's also like, I know that again, nothing great comes without effort. And so right now I'm in a time in my life where I'm willing to put in that effort to see what comes of it. It feels like, I'm planting seeds and I'm
Yeah.
nurturing them and I'm seeing what's growing. And if you don't see it through, if you don't keep watering it, you're not going to see that result. So I'm just going to do it until I start seeing sprouts and keep going from there.
And then your jungle will set in.
My jungle.
Your
Yes.
jungle.
Yeah, Denise is saying jungle. It's kind of an inside joke for us because I train at a gym called Jungle Gym. So like that's where I do my Ninja Warrior stuff. So it's all jungle themed and it was appropriate.
I love that. I love it. First of all, we got to tell people if where to find you on social media because your videos and everything that you do is amazing. And I have a feeling that your ninja workouts might be part of the answer to this next question,
Okay.
which is what habits or routines do you credit your success as a business owner? So I'm just going to pause there because I kind of have a feeling that I know at least part of the answer here.
No, I mean, staying active and doing something I love as like ninja is for sure. So here's the powerful thing about being physically active and how it translates your health and it translates to your wealth. I know that is such a cliche term, you guys, but I'm sure everyone who's listening, you know someone in your life who lost their health in some capacity. And maybe they were even living a comfortable life. Maybe they even had a ton of money. The second you lose that health, that wellness, nothing else matters.
That's so true.
You can't enjoy it. So I take my health very seriously. In fact, dare I say, it takes priority over my businesses. It takes priority over the other things I do in my life. If I am not taking care of myself, if I'm not sleeping, I really try to pivot really quick because not only do I feel it physically, I know that it will impact everything else from there. It's all domino effect from there. So one of the things that really motivates me is the ninja workouts in particular. There's a lot of correlations there that we can dive into if you want.
Yes, I'd love to. And also then we can maybe jump into why you chose peptides and make wellness as part of
Yes.
your business plan too. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about your ninja.
Yeah. So one of the things so the sport of ninja, for those of you everyone hopefully has heard of the show American Ninja Warrior. That's actually how the term Ninja Warrior got started really in the Americas. It was actually began over in Japan, but then America we had our own US version of it. Anyways, it's been a show for like 16 plus years. I got into it because my sister actually got on the show. I'm one of 4 girls. My sister Charity got on the show like kind of randomly. She had always like, it'd be kind of cool to be on Ninja Warrior. We were dancers growing up. We were always doing we loved being adventurous and hiking. At the time, she was doing circus arts. So she had really good grip strength. She was like, what if I could do Ninja Warrior? She signed up, she applied, she got selected. The rest is history. We watched her live in Miami that year and I fell in love. I was like, why am I not doing this? Because we were always doing stuff together, but in our adult years, we kind of like started doing our own thing. And anyways, long story short, I kind of followed her into the sport that following year. She has since retired, but I keep going. I kept going. She's doing all kinds of fun stuff too, still like circus arts again, but I kind of stayed with the ninja thing. The reason why I think Ninja Warrior in particular is so powerful, it's an obstacle, right? You are literally tackling obstacles. And I still have obstacles that are so hard for me to do. Like I will be super scared of something. I will be super fearful of a move. And it's just such an amazing and analogy in that sport to translate over into real life and business. I train physically and mentally with that sport in so many ways that align so well to business that it actually refreshes me. It's almost like it's like a training ground for actually implementing in my business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see
Yes.
it.
So
Yep.
the mindset, even though it's a highly physical sport, when something's hard, you guys, like, it is 30% skill, 70% mindset. Like, if, and I'm pick a ratio, but it's never out. The physical or the actual skill set needed to do something, the physical ability is actually so much of a smaller percentage than the mindset ability to decide you're going to do something, commit to something, follow through with something, and try. Because
That's so true.
nothing amazing in life, nothing that next level you want to get to, it doesn't come without taking actions you've never done before.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm sorry, but it's a fact. You're not going to get to where you want to go if you're not going to try things you've never tried before.
Yes.
So that's like my big motto, my big mantra. Like, I love that sport, and I love training in it weekly because it keeps me in that mode, you know? And let me tell you this, it's so rewarding to like overcome something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Anything that kind of pushes you out of your comfort zone. And then when you are able to like nail a move, nail the mile run, whatever it is, the confidence that comes with that is
priceless.
enormous. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the other cool dynamic, right? I'm sure you've experienced this with things like, because you are working out and doing amazing things in the gym. When you hit a new PR, or all of a sudden you're like, why was that hard before? Like, why was I struggling so much before? Ninja is the same. And it's the same thing in life, because once you accomplish like an obstacle of any kind, it's like you've achieved that level. Now what was hard before is now done. I accomplished that. I achieved that. I can take that experience with me into the next level obstacle. So you find yourself advancing, and you find yourself being stronger and more confidence, because action is always going to build the confidence. Confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first.
That's so true. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. Yeah. Well, and I think that just when you feel so strong physically, it just transforms your life and helps you in everything that you're trying to do. I hear so many people say, I work out because I want to be skinny, or I want, this, but for me, it's two things. It's the mental wellness of it. Mm-hmm. And also just the incredible, like it's so empowering, and helps you with life, with business, with relationships, with everything.
I know.
So are you planning on competing again? like on TV?
Well, yeah. So the show is still going. NBC still sponsors it. So as long as the show's available, I'll still apply. I'll probably try applying next year if there's an opportunity. But it's very interesting. It's technically considered reality television. They get thousands and thousands of applications, and it's up to the producers to decide like who they get on the show. So we'll see. I'll try. I'll keep trying. I've applied a couple times and gotten on. But I've taken a break the last couple years, so maybe I'll jump back in. I still compete though, Denise, outside the show. So for those of you who may not know, the ninja like sport of ninja, if you will, there are international and national leagues that are
I didn't know that.
Yes. Full-blown ones. I mean, you can win tons of prize money. They're very competitive. In fact, they're more competitive than the show. The show is very much theatrics and very much like entertainment first. Yeah. But the leagues are truly like sportsmanship, capabilities, abilities within that sport. So you'll see a lot more complexity, a lot more intensity in the leagues. So I do those actually a lot more than I do the show.
Okay. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah.
You never like disappointed in there. Always doing something.
Well, it's like, I think people who like love to work out in the gym, that's why they go into these like bodybuilding competitions, because it's like, it's like an opportunity to perform. It's an opportunity to show the work that you've done. So that, and ninja's no different. Like, yeah, we train in the gym, but it's really fun to go compete because then you get to display and reward yourself for the skills that you've taught yourself. So
Yeah, absolutely.
fun.
Well, so then that segues us into your home make wellness business. So why don't you share some of that and the cool, just amazing products that are coming into the wellness world? Because obviously, as a ninja competitor, I like to, I run and work out all the time. Like these are heavy hitting, like innovative, like peptides we're
Yeah.
talking here. So.
Yeah. And what an opportunity, right? So there is a startup company that kind of kicked off this year, and there's an opportunity to become a founding affiliate for it. And basically, it's a new breed of super supplement, we call them. So peptide industry is actually gaining a lot of traction. It's funny when you ask someone, have you heard of peptides? Almost everyone will say, I've heard of a peptide, but
Mhm.
they also say, I've heard of neurosurgery, like I've heard of neurosurgery. I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard of it. Peptides are very much the same. But I'll be the first to tell you that I also didn't know a ton about peptides when I first started this. And I have gained a whole new respect for the power of what peptides do, what they are, how they're kind of like, they are this groundbreaking discovery in medicine. And peptides have been around forever. And right now, when you think of peptides and when people go to a doctor to get peptide therapy, they're synthetic.
Mhm.
They're very expensive. You have to have a doctor administrate them because they are considered a drug. They are manufactured in a lab, hence the synthetic nature of them. Now, our body recognizes them because the body has over 7,000 that we know of known peptides in our body, that they are the building blocks of our body. They tell our cells to function in the way they should. All of our, our brain and gut axes, they all run on these peptide chains. So if think of it, I love this analogy. If your DNA is the lock, peptides are the key. So
Mm.
peptides unlock things in your DNA that maybe are struggling. They talk to the very cellular makeup of maybe what's going wrong and tell that cell to start working and optimize again like it was designed to do. So peptides are like messengers. They talk to your cells to start functioning and enhancing what they were already created to do. So when people get maybe they have pains and they have aches, or they're even struggling with a symptom or a sickness, even like peptides can often reverse those things because it literally heals the cell. So that's when this company came out. Their whole thing was nature-based peptides.
Mhm.
So they are not synthetic. They use AI technology to locate, identify, and get these peptides out of nature-based products, plants, foods, some animal products. We actually get collagen from meat and chicken and all that stuff too. So those are all considered nature food sources. This company has found a way to not only find them and get them out of nature-based products, but then protect protect the peptide with a protein matrix, they call it, so that it can be ingested instead of injected. So what I didn't say
Mhm.
earlier was the reason why peptides are so expensive, they're made in a lab and they have to be injected, is because they're unstable. They have to be inserted into the bloodstream in order to survive and do what they have, stay alive long enough to do what they have to do. So they've never been able to figure out how to make them ingestible. And that's why they have to be monitored by a doctor, really measured and titrated carefully, because if you overdose, then you get negative feedback loops. You can get bad symptoms from overdosing or not dosing peptides correctly in the synthetic world too. But these nature-based peptides are as safe as an apple. They're GRAS certified, GRAS. The food that
Well,
we eat in the
and
stores.
getting away from big pharma,
Mhm.
for something so powerful with your health, I just think is incredible.
Oh, I know. I feel like America as a whole is finally waking up to the fact that there's a lot of control in big pharma. Let's face it, the condition of our healthcare system today is absolute shambles. We don't do it right. And it's all because the incentives are not aligned. Big pharma
Mhm.
makes money for prescribing and over
Right.
prescribing and
Yep.
doing more things to you, not healing you. They want you to keep you sick so they can keep
Yes.
treating you.
Yeah.
So this is totally the opposite of that. This is about health and wellness and longevity. So these ingestible peptides are now able to get into our digestive system without breaking down because of that patented protein matrix that they get surrounded with. You can ingest them and they stay intact long enough for them to go to where they need to go in your body. And like I said, super safe. They're literally called a super supplement because they're the wedge between pharmaceutical drugs and a vitamin. They're in between because they're just as effective as a drug, but just as safe as a supplement, yet have this unique, they sit in the between the two. So it's a totally new supplement class, if you will. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it. It's groundbreaking. It's innovative. No one's been doing it. The labs, plural, that are partnering with Make Wellness. They have had over 10 years of research and $100 million backed into figuring out to crack this code, right? And so they just partnered. We have an exclusive license, an exclusive partnership with this company to get their products out there. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting. And can you tell our listeners how, let me try to rephrase this, what the closing, what am I trying to say? Make Wellness in their first month did X amount of business. I don't know the number, but it was significant. Do you know that number?
Yeah,
because it is mind blowing.
13 million, you guys.
Yes.
13 million in like the first 30 days of doing business.
That is wild.
It's unheard of. It's crazy. And they're using a really unique affiliate model to get the products out. And especially within that business model, that has never been done before. And that just speaks to the product story. Like it speaks to the product story. The leadership behind this whole engine is freaking incredible. I haven't worked with CEOs and leadership at that level in my whole career. You can see, feel, and know the difference when they speak. So like the motivation behind it, none of the people at the top had to do this business. They were all very successful already, but because they felt this intrinsic like motivation to help others. And, one of the founder, Justin Prince, this will always stick with me because when I met him back in September for the kickoff, he said, one of my God-given gifts and purposes in this life is to create economic opportunity for people. And so he didn't want to just do any business. So he spent a long time trying to figure out, how do I create economic opportunity? He found this amazing peptide discovery, these products, these labs. And then he coupled it with his ability to lead business and help others. And so it's this really powerful two-sided business model. And then to wrap around all of that is the community. So because it's an affiliate model, you get plugged into incredible people who not only have vast experience in this space of just how to run a business from your phone, how to promote a product online, but just genuine people who know how to help people and want to help people. And that's been really inspiring.
I think that it is just so cool too, that there are opportunities out there for people who think, I could never be an entrepreneur. I could never run my own business. And there really are. They're like, this is one example of just remarkable opportunity.
Yeah.
To start a side business or turn it into your career. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's also the powerful thing about this. Like, this can be as little or as big as you want, which is, I think, really cool. It's like you can even treat it like a proof of concept, if you will, and see how it goes. And then if you really want it to take off, it's what you put in and what you get out of it. There's a direct correlation. So I love, it's equitable. Like, there's not very many businesses that do that, right? Not that 1-to-1 ratio. The comp model for the affiliate part of the business is super generous. People who have been in an affiliate model space for a long time have never seen compensation models like this before. And that's because Justin he's been there, done that, and he's seen the ick. He's seen what doesn't work, and he's kind of done his best to take all of that out and just what works and optimize from there. So, people need to not be intimidated, because we share things every day with each other. When you love something, you're telling someone about it. You're saying, I just found this great new toothpaste. Like, it could be as small as that. Like, or someone compliments on your shirt and you're like, where'd you get that shirt? You're like, oh, I got it from the Gap, you know?
Yeah.
And it's no different than you sharing a link for some jeans that someone said, I want to buy those same jeans. It's the same exact concept. And I think that's just really cool. And it's where we're going. It's where we already are in this century of where we're at. Like, everything's online now, you guys.
Yeah.
My phone is more important than my wallet these days. Like, I need this thing on me 24/7 because so much lives, breathes, and gets done on this thing. And it's just, everyone has one, right? So
we don't even need a wallet anymore because we can pay for things with our phone.
Yep, that was the next thing I was going to say. The wallets are obsolete. But that's how powerful it is. Like, that's why anyone can literally do this business, is because if you have a phone, you can do it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, so how do you stay innovative and adapt to changes that, hit the industry or industries that you work in? Because real estate, wellness, those are all, totally different industries. But how do you adapt and ebb and flow and stay innovative within those?
That's a really great question. The first thing that comes to my mind, and something that has really helped me, is community. You must stay plugged in to some kind of group within that sector. Okay. So being in a group with like-minded people doing what you're doing, or better yet, ahead of you doing what you want to be doing, that is key. Because especially if you're someone like me who's kind of doing these things a little bit in part-time segments, like I can't afford to be in the know 24/7 within each of these niches. I want to leverage my time by maybe attending a meetup with real estate. In my case, I run a meetup monthly on purpose so that I can like stay intentional with not only my time, but like keep myself in the know. By running a meetup and planning for those meetings, I am forcing myself, like being disciplined to get the content ready, find speakers, and be in a group of people who are learning the same thing. So that's one example. In the Make Wellness business, I mean, I already mentioned that there's a really robust community model around that. So I just plug in that I find people that I aspire to be like in that business, who are maybe making the money that I want to make, or bringing in the revenue, running teams like I want to run teams. And I am watching them, and I am modeling their behavior and making it my own. Like, what can I take from what they're doing, and how does that look like for me?
Yeah.
And so, yes, that's how I stay innovative, is mainly the community aspect. And then with any spare time that I have, if I have a long car drive, if I am just in between things, I will be listening to podcasts in any of these areas. So if I feel like I need to brush up on my social media skills, like what does really good digital marketing look like, I'll like look up a podcast on that topic for that day and just listen to it for 30 minutes and get some, you almost learn something new every time you listen to a podcast. So those are kind of like my two tips, is community, and then just stay in the know, listen to podcasts in the area and the niche that you're interested in, just to keep learning. You have to keep learning.
That's really good. What advice would you give to someone who is maybe hesitant to jump into entrepreneurship?
Well, you have to don't know until you try.
Yep.
And if you fail, it's okay. In fact, if you fail, it's amazing, because then you just learn something. You just learn something about why you failed. And now you can take that lesson and apply it to the next time you attempt it. The other piece of advice I'd give is embrace the no's. If you are told no, if you're maybe at a dead end or something, consider it a blessing, because the more no's you get leads you to the next yes. Like it's like a treasure finding exercise. The more rocks you lift up, you're gonna find something, right? There's treasure hidden under rocks, but you have to keep lifting them up. And if you're not doing those activities, if you're not talking with more people and getting more no's, you're not getting to the next yes. And I'll tell you this, one day you're going to get a yes, or someone, to mentor you, or you're going to get a yes to partner on something, or you're going to get a yes to do business with somebody. And that will be the one yes that changes your life. But you had to go through all of these false starts or all of these no's first in order to get to that one yes, or else it would have never have gotten you there.
Yeah, that's really good. Really, really good.
Mm-hmm. And I'm still learning that, Denise, by the way. Like, I hate being told no. I still hate it. But I will say that I am slowly but surely trying to change that perspective to be like, I gotta know. Time to go to the next one so I can get to my next yes. It's like you almost want to look forward to the no's because now I can keep moving on.
Well, and you don't have to wonder about it anymore.
That's true too.
You don't have to wonder about it anymore. The decision's made, moving on, like next.
And guess what? Sometimes those no's that they turn into yeses later.
Yeah.
Because people are watching you. They're watching how consistent you're going to be. They're watching what you're doing and why. And does she or he do what they say they're going to do? And it's just really, that's as simple as it is, guys. It's follow through.
Yeah.
And that to me is the whole secret sauce, if you want to call it, of entrepreneurship, is saying what you're doing, what you say you're going to do, and being consistent.
Do you ever struggle with imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Oh my gosh. Who doesn't? I think if you don't struggle with imposter syndrome, like, you are a unicorn. I think it's just like, it's part of the human nature. For whatever reason, we just get in our own way. It also comes from comparison.
Yes.
And comparison is the thief of joy. Like, it will rob you every time. And I think I've also heard it said, like, it's you versus you. And it really is. Like, just compare yourself to who you were yesterday. No one else. Use other people for inspiration. Use other people for motivation. Never compare yourself. Because here's the other trap. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's 20. Like, you can't. That's not even like, you're not even comparing apples to apples, right? And that's, again, goes back to, that's why you need to compare yourself to yourself, because you are the best comparison to be compared to. And that's your only measure, your only marker. Were you better than you were yesterday? Did you say you were going to do something yesterday? And did you do it? Did you overcome an obstacle that you thought you couldn't overcome before? Like, that's who you need to be thinking about, is yourself. Easier said than done, though, because I think also with this phone and social media, it is a tool, okay? Like, for good and evil. If you are not careful, you dictate what you see on this thing. You dictate what you ingest. And I think that people forget that they have control over that. And so you just got to be really careful to protect yourself and who you follow.
That's so good and so true. I have an acquaintance who I follow on Instagram, and one of the things that she just recently posted was, make these last 2 weeks of the year, start going through your Instagram and ditch the accounts that are making you not feel good about yourself, making you feel like you're not as accomplished as you should be. You're not at the weight you want to be. You're not, all of that stuff. Get rid of it. It is not serving you at all.
No, or others. Because if you can't, if you can't like be who you're supposed to be in life, how are you going to make your impact? Like, you're literally thwarting, you're stopping what your calling is. You're stopping what you're supposed to be doing. So I love that. And that's true. Everyone, I need to be doing that. I need to go through and figure out if I'm ever seeing anything that is sucking the life out of me. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, what do you consider your personal measurement of success? And how is that definition? How has that definition evolved over time? Because I know for me personally, what I used to consider success doesn't mean the same thing. Like, my measurement has changed. My definition has changed.
Absolutely. And I think it should change, actually, as you go through life. I think it should change. Success for me, I used to think that it meant I arrived at some kind of income goal. I arrived at some kind of accomplishment, and then I was done. I have been successful. But it's actually the opposite of that. Success for me now is going to be like, what next thing am I pursuing? Am I going after a dream? Am I
Mhm.
pursuing something that scares me because I want it? And if I am saying yes to those things, and I can show that I am taking steps, or I can, at the end of the week, I can point to, oh, I put time into that today because I cared about it and I want to get further in that area, then that has been success.
Mhm.
And it is different for everyone. But again, it's also enjoying the process. I know that sounds so lame, but like finding joy in the process of just improving and learning.
Mhm.
You will be so surprised how your mindset just like takes off, levels up when you are approaching problems as, how do I solution this? Every problem can be fixed, you guys. Literally, it can. It's
Yeah.
just, are you choosing to look at it as a, how can I solve this, as opposed to, I give up. This is in my way. And that's success for me, is having that mindset of winning, having that mindset of, how do I solve this problem, right? And that might be setting up a boundary too. Like, success might have been, I chose to not go to that event tonight because I need to choose my sanity and I need to choose my health. I need to choose my rest. That also is success. And I
Mhm.
actually had a night like that this week. But I said no to something that I didn't really want to say no to in the beginning, and I was really glad I said no because I felt better the next day. And that's tough. That's what happens when you say yes to a lot of things in general, but that's very important and just as important.
Yeah, you can't say yes to everything.
No, you
Well,
can't.
my last question before we wrap it up is, are you working on any new projects that you would like to share?
Oh gosh. Well, growing the Make Wellness business is a huge passion of mine. I feel like that's like, for me, it's like a vehicle to produce more income for myself. Um,
Hmm.
the I love my job. My W-2 is actually really amazing. It serves me. I work from home for an amazing company. I have amazing leaders, but there's a cap on my earning potential. And
Hmm.
I love being able to supplement that with something that has no cap. Um, Also security wise, like, right, it provides me security. God forbid I get let go. I can't keep this job anymore. Like, I will have built stuff on the side that could compensate or supplement what I've lost. So to me, it's a long-term play too. It's just keep doing this on the side, maybe little by little. It may never measure up to my salary like that quickly, but also, as soon as I do lose my job, then I just put my efforts into that full time, and then it takes off. So, Make Wellness is a big focus of mine right now because there's a lot of building that comes with that, like helping like lead my team and keep learning about the products, keep promoting
Hmm.
the products. So that's been really big. Real estate, I'm always looking for my next investment. So we actually are finishing up a flip right now in my neighborhood. We purchased a house. I don't usually like flipping houses, but we said yes to this project. So that one's almost done. I'm excited for that one to get done. We're putting my mother-in-law in the back. It's actually kind of a personal project because we want her, she's going to live near us, and we're going to put her in the mother-in-law suite, and we're going to rent out the front.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's kind of going on right now. That's keeping me busy. And then let's see. I'm beefing up my sales skills. So I'm in a new sales training program that's really teaching me the art of sales and how to really help people by finding out what they need and putting them with a product that solves that problem. So
That's
that's kind of
awesome.
that's what I'm up to right now.
So stay tuned for more growth.
Absolutely. Yeah, because going back to the earlier part of our conversation, it's like I'm in learning mode a lot. I'm finding myself um, with that. So that's going to be a focus for the end of the year for sure. And then my next Ninja Comp is in January. That's going to be at our amazing gym here, host World Ninja League competition. So that will be the next ninja thing I do.
Wow. Well, speaking of that, people can find more information about you at multifamily hashtag. No, sorry, dash.
Underscore.
Is it underscore?
Yeah.
Okay. Multifamily underscore ninja.com. Did I say
Oh,
that
I'm
correctly?
sorry. You're giving the website, not my
Yeah.
Instagram
Yeah.
tag. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually yes, multifamily-ninja.com. You were right the first time. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. And then where can anyone find you on social media? Instagram?
Facebook and Instagram. I'm on both. I mean, my name, Miriam McKissick, is pretty unique. You could probably find me just by searching my name, but my tag on Instagram is multifamily_ninja as well.
Okay.
So Miriam
Awesome.
McKissick on Facebook.
Thank you so much for taking the time out today. I'm honored that you did it. I know how busy you are, and taking out an hour of your time is a lot. So I really appreciate it. I know that our listeners are really going to get a lot of insights and knowledge from you. So thank you so, so much for being here today.
Denise, it was an honor. Thanks for having me, and it was great talking to your audience.
Thank you.